I didn't even think to look at first. I was so enveloped by the moment, reaching down to pull her from the warmth and safety of her mother's womb, to pull her into the cold, unforgiving world. I placed her tiny, afterbirth covered form onto her mother's belly, awed at what the two of them had accomplished. It wasn't until a nurse asked what it was that I snapped out of my daze and lifted a tiny leg to reveal the surprise that my wife and I had waited 10 long months to receive. A tsunami of oxytocin hit me as I realized that I had gotten my wish. We had a daughter. It's hard to explain exactly why the desire to have a girl was so strong for me. So many of the men that I talked to about fatherhood had expressed the opposite instinct. Probably some evolutionary survival tool developed to create a bond between father and child so that dad will stick around to protect his offspring. I think for me, the desire went far beyond some trite image of me playing catch in the front yard with my son. Obviously, a girl is just as capable of catching and throwing back a baseball. Just ask Monet Davis. No, for me, having a daughter meant something far more important. An opportunity to better understand myself. She's like a tiny mirror. In every new moment, reflecting back my shortcomings, my strengths, my mood, and my ideas about gender and race. Being a husband and a father reminds me every day that the lens through which I see the world has blind spots and imperfections that can only be remedied by seeing beyond my own experience and imagining myself in my world through someone else's eyes. For me, being a better man means knowing all sides of myself. And that's the gift that my daughter gives me every day in small bites. The roadblocks that she will face in her life as a woman represent some of my blind spots. She's only one, but already they've begun to present themselves in interesting ways. If I had $1 for every time someone called her pretty or princess, I could pay for Trump's border wall. And there's every reason to believe that her outside appearance will continue to be the attribute by which she is judged throughout her life by most people. Added to that are the many uncertainties that she will face relating to how free she will be to make decisions about her own body, whether her work will be valued equally to her male counterparts, how to own her sexuality without being objectified, and how all of these issues affect her perception of herself. Even as a young black male growing up in America, those weren't the issues that I had to struggle with. Now suddenly the responsibility to clear those roadblocks, or at least provide her with the tools to address them herself, falls squarely on my shoulders. Suddenly all of my blind spots have come into sharp focus. Already the experience of being a father to a young girl has caused me to reflect back on the ways that I've carried myself throughout my life. The times that I laughed at a sexist joke, the moments when I was silent, when seeing a woman be objectified, the people that I let shape my image of what it means to be a man. It has also allowed me to see into the future and imagine the myriad scenarios that my daughter will encounter. Moments when I won't be there to guide her, to shield her, to offer advice, to stand up for her. In those moments, I can only hope that she will use the tools that she has been given to stand up for herself and make her voice heard against the forces trying to suppress it because of her gender, the color of her skin, or the way that she chooses to wear her hair. My hope is that I will have provided her with the empathy, the kindness, and the humility to see beyond her own experience and strive to make a difference. My commitment now is to utilize this expanded vision to improve myself as a person and do everything possible to create a clear path to happiness, success, and safety for my daughter. It's a massively complex task that involves clearly identifying and calling out the sexism, the bigotry, the bias, the shaming, and the violence that exists in our everyday lives. It involves listening to and retelling the stories of the victims of that violence. And it means making damn sure that I stand up as a positive example of manhood to women and men. Because far too often, we men try to mansplain our way to a solution without seeing that we are part of the problem to begin with. The type of person that being a father is teaching me to be is someone who takes action and doesn't stand idly by when witnessing locker room talk. Someone who challenges the gender norms of our society. Someone who isn't afraid to check himself first and learn from his mistakes. Someone who isn't afraid to hold a mirror to my masculinity.